There are people who don't have the gumption or the gung-ho to do anything at all for themselves. This lighting thing is really frustrating because I don't even know how to stand to recover all this lighting to me because it just gets so dark. There are people who don't even at least express some kind of evidence that they desire to be okay. And these are the ones that are problematic under a socialistic regime. But in a nation that is out here disincentivizing people from working hard because it yields no fruit, even some of their laziness is the fault of the government. It's like you push and you push and you push a cart up a hill for so long that it gets exhausting and tiring, and when you realize that your country is out here gunning, hitting the ground running for socialism, you then decide you're going to sit here and wait for the rain to fall on you, because when socialistic rain falls, it falls on the poor and on the rich. It falls on everybody. So why push a cart up a hill? Why? It's too hard. The problem here is in the fact that you're making people push carts up hills when they should be on level ground with everybody else, able to partake in the economy, able to fairly compete in universities, compete in corporates, fairly apply for jobs and get them. Our constitution awards us that right, and yet we are strangely not awarding equal opportunity to everybody. There are people that are going out of their way to function as barriers to entry. What is going on with my channel? What's happening with my life? Why did I lose my whole career in corporate South Africa? And why at the age of 40 are people trying to make me either scan groceries at the Pick and Pay, wait tables at the Wimpy, or work in corporate South Africa out just still ordering digestive biscuits at 40 despite being such a skilled consultant? What is going on? What? No, somebody please tell me. I have to leave this crazy country. Do you understand? I have to leave this like crazy, ridiculous, rebellious nation. It has to be left. It has to be walked out of instead of go on the floor. That nobody might actually be confused as to whether or not something is departing. The departure must be audible, like as with go. I gotta go like that. Here's with Amush, like the flash. A fella with wind in your hair. The way something is because scanner the groza, go Pick and Pay, or marry a man that insists that he's going to pay my way because he is scared I'm going to leave or whatever. When I am skilled, I'm talented, I am intelligent, and I want to use my gifts and my talents to make my own money. And if you don't want me to do that, that's why I'm not marrying you. Not because I am stubborn to be a stay-at-home wife, but because I don't want to be a stay-at-home wife. I want it by choice, not by coercion. I'm not marrying some misogynistic chauvinist. No. Granted that those are the challenges of this nature, or of this South Africa of ours. And I mean, challenges is such an understatement, right? Is it not? Understand that with your little socialistic situation, you are not only going to be incentivizing complete bums, you are going to be patronizing with mere state stipends entirely skilled people that should be doing a lot better, but who have no other choice but to take a stipend. It's just gonna maintain a grain of crazy, and I don't want anything to do with it. Very basic. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with your crazy country. And you see, because socialism relies on mere mortals to do mere mortal things, okay, it has comprehensive abhorrence to God. Unlike, well, capitalism is very man-focused, it's very man-centered. It is a very, it's like an aggrandized, sort of kind of pompous also way of looking at things. If you work hard, you are going to, if you work hard, you deserve the money, you deserve the wealth, and nobody else. You should not have to account to anybody. The errors in it, or the flaws in it, in that it can create, it can create a very individualistic society that's not necessarily taking care of its fellow man. There are inefficiencies in every political ideology. That's why you need the Prince of Peace, who is Christ, who is going to reign righteously for 1,000 years, and you're gonna know what the perfect regime looks like. Some people argue that Christ was a socialist, but how could he be when he implored his disciples in the Acts of the Apostles to evidence that if anybody does not want to work, let them not eat. Ananias and Sapphira were out ransacked indeed for not contributing their might to the full might of what is it they were supposed to contribute to the ecosystem, but it is only because everybody else contributed. Do you understand? And those that did not contribute, they ought not have eaten. So it is a system of everybody pulling their own weight, but there is community too. So it is about hard work and reward for that hard work. Therein lies capitalism. all up in your growth, but also community. Therein lies socialism. So Christ is like the be-all and end-all of political regimes, that you all could innovate in your utopian ideals as to how the world ought to work. He's the one that are just going to give you a perfect government so you can understand how things ought to work. But you see, because you're unrighteous, you're unholy, you lack benevolence, you are unable to effect correction of the human status quo, and therefore the curing of the human condition with your human ideas, because they're fallen, coming from sinners. Your human ideas are fallen and they're coming from sinners. And so because your human ideas are fallen and coming from sinners, capitalism will always yield greed, rapacity, and arrogance, pomp, an aggrandized sense of self in those who subscribe to it. But socialism will always, like necessarily, like it happens like clockwork, it's gonna breed bums. It's gonna breed bums. It's gonna breed bums and a lot of apprehension and anxiety on the part of those that are working hard, because they're always going to want to go and put their money now. Okay? Yeah. So as to escape the fika monsters and the phase monsters. Yeah. They're gonna hide their money in a couch like Cyril Ramaphosa at Palapala Farm to avoid being caught for his money laundering. They're going to want to hide all their money. Herein lies a president that wants to proliferate a socialistic ideal, hiding money in a couch. He doesn't want to account to the tax man. He does not want to account to auditors for how much money he has that he might indeed have to pay for somebody's SASSA grant. So he puts it where? In a sofa. In dollars, nogal. The very reserve currency that he's out trying to eradicate under bricks. That's your story, and that's what you're trying to stick to. Like propaganda mucho ose buying skelem salona South Africa. Nobody. I kid you not, Mina. Esako is I need buy it. What you're selling, I ain't buying it. But don't nobody seem to care. That don't nobody out here in these particular streets be buying your skellum, because this here skebengu skellum thing that you're doing, you think it's a going concern because as a concert, corporately, as a nation, you are ululating, jumping up and down on beach balls that are kamikaze because you're suicidal on Twitter, trending all different kinds of rubbish against a necessary rebuke at your persons. You're in dire need of being told where to get off, and seeing as you won't listen, it's giving footstep, like I said, very loud, thunderous, with peals of such thunder as that. With a door slam and everything, making like Michael Jackson moonwalking. We're not doing it, we're just leaving. Like Sam Smith, I'm way too good at goodbye, and I've been saying it. Maranyaya. At present, because you are possessive. But why are you possessive of me? How are you going to abuse a human individual and then say, but baby, please don't go. Ninja and Kontwa. That's why Mudimu ale raba za khatana kalisu. Wale bolaya guys. Because I mean really why? Why? Anyway, Mamela, given that your socialistic regime hates Mudimu utlole smita akere, because after all footstool much, it's giving you are vessels of dishonor. You are grasshoppers. The grasshoppers kodwa kuna ukudelela nje fela oku hectic like a dungaree. Yeah, 1997 in the streets and nobody cares. At least I don't. Right? That's what's going on. Yeah. Socialism hates God. It hates religion. It hates religious folk because they believe in the power of a being that is apart from humans, and so therefore it takes from the state the power of the state. It takes from the state the overarching sovereignty of the country to redistribute its resources as it sees fit. There is an imagination that there is a God in the sky that out here can indeed give you justice, when there apparently is none to be given except by your executor on the streets, otherwise known as your president. So they don't like God. Socialistic regimes literally despise deity. The Antichrist system is a socialistic system, I kid you not. The mark of the beast, everybody big and small, slave and free. Don't nobody care who you be. They get taken in their foreheads and in their right hands. This mark 666 themable, and as a result of it they can buy or sell, partake in commerce essentially. So it doesn't matter who you be, you are actually going to eat of the piece of the Antichrist pie. You're gonna get to eat of the Antichrist pie because you alleged to him, for no other reason but alleging to him. Like proper, you don't have to be qualified, skilled, or anything important, just alleging. So it creates docile servants out of people that if they don't agree to a particular thing, they're shut out. However, if they agree, like I said, docile servants, it creates mindless drones. So your opinions don't matter. You have got to just merely offer your allegiance and that's all that's required. That's dangerous, because offering allegiance suggests a loss of opinion. It also suggests, therefore, if you lose an opinion, loss of a right to recourse when you are disgruntled by whatever might be getting done by the regime on the ground. Do you understand? So courts, forget about it. They're there to merely just execute judgment as opposed to actually hear a fair trial. That's what's going to eventually happen with the Antichrist system. So courts of our country now, South Africa, are now only going to be sending out court orders, decrees, to merely just go and grab a land somewhere called Orania, or grab a land somewhere called the wine fields of Cape Town. They're just going to go and grab a land. No longer are our courts a place for due process or, procedure, fair trial. They're there to merely effect the despotic iron fist of a socialistic president that Aja has determined to take whatever he wants to take, because after all, I'm giving you an increased stipend sasa every month. You should sing that. It's a Tepotola song. You should be singing My House is Burning. My house is burning. It's written in God's word that a wise woman builds her house with her own hands, but a foolish one tears it down with the very same hands. So Africa is like a woman that's a fool. It's tearing down its own house and ngezandla zakhe wangwapa motho utletseka Hlongwane violence attitude bo hectic mole o ska kena o tlocha kopanje fela le ska kenang ha hwa loka wa bola ngkhilo sa bola mara ho bola anyway swang mo situation. That's this country. It is perishing, hitting the ground running, and I am anticipated to literally gather dust, merely exist in these crazy streets and be okay with the fact that kodwa kunjalo nna ke tla etsang. I'm sorry, ke tswetswe ke tlhalefile go tlhokafala, likely sense ne ke tlhalefile. That is if ke tlhokafala, if there's no rapture first. So therefore go ska sebedisa tlhalefo ya ka nna kopa letsweng ko nna je ka swabe. Come on, give me a guys. Like I kid you not. Like Zwang mon. I can't make We're not doing this, hey? We are not performing such a feat as that. We are not doing it. But it is apparently a thing that we are going to do it because at some point, a country mudimu cannot be maintained by mudimu without calamity for any given reasonable amount of time. Okay, comprehend that. And South Africa is becoming increasingly socialistic, and given that every new random crazy leader or kamugayo out of nowhere, like a bat out of hell, becomes even more increasingly socialistic. God is going to be increasingly extracted from South African society. Okay, the parties of this country are starting to become like reverse Gondwana land. Like I don't even know how to describe them. It's like, I mean, give me a movie. Wait, this is like a total thing. Like, yo, hey, thank you. It's like the Body Snatchers. Have you seen the Body Snatchers? Have you seen the Body Snatchers? If you haven't seen the Body Snatchers, go gaze yourself at that movie. It's the dystopia describing South African society. So in the movie, they are literally doing just that, snatching bodies, okay? Like some funny little parasitic, weird little morphy, orby, like cocoony thing. Drinks the life force and the soul and the spirit of people and then makes them zombies for the state. Kind of giving George Orwell 1984 but like science fiction-y. In the movie Body Snatchers, right, there is like this government strategy or rather alien strategy to essentially take over the whole world and make it a docile servant or whatever, and it takes people over while they're like fast asleep, and it just drinks the life juice out of their brains or whatever, and then the thing that takes over their bodies, it looks like them, it talks like them, but we know it ain't them because something's giving there that's saying zombie. And so therefore you never really know if you're dealing with a snatched body until they release some crazy scream, to call you out for being a real human being, because now this world is made up of aliens and we're just living in it. Oh snap. That's what happens in the Body Snatchers. One time in the movie, like the wife, right, gets taken over by like the body snatching things while she's in the bathtub taking a bath. The snatchers come into her nose and they eat her alive. But nobody knows that she's gone. So husband and kids are left. and then they try to run away because they realize something really weird is going on in society. And as the husband is exiting, right, the house, he's like, wife, let us go. Wife, let us go. Can't you see the body snatchers are coming for us? And the wife, actually, with the 666 like symbolism all up in her hand, come on, this lighting, it just needs to work with me. The wife, actually making like a 6, I get the lighting in a young bora, yes, like it, yeah. The wife holding like a 666 up like that is like to the husband, where you gonna go? Where you gonna run? Where you gonna hide? Nowhere, because there's no one out there like you left. What? The man eventually discovers that his wife has been taken over. This woman like Aja, the husband is like, honey, let's go. And the woman is like, where you gonna go? Where you gonna run? Where you gonna hide? Nowhere, because there's no one out there like you left. So the husband runs with the children, and then everybody screams, oh, in the neighborhood. And so you end up having to live in a society like that, ostracized from it like Edward Scissorhands, because everybody doesn't like you, because you're not like everybody anymore. And people get taken over literally, incrementally, piecemeal. Hanyani, like Pac-Man. Like Pac-Man, little by little, countrymen be actually getting taken. They be actually getting snatched. And in the instance of political parties, literally parties that were at opposition with each other, it becomes clear now that they've been working together all along. I've been saying it's a conspiracy. Today, tomorrow, it's fact. Okay. But to one, they belong to cults, secret societies, and one of them are trying to do a strange thing. And so therefore, you are going to see as time progresses, please listen to my content with anality, like proper. You must just listen to it with pedanticism, like as in gaze upon it with a microscope or whatever. Go and grab some looking paraphernalia, even a periscope from under the sea or whatever, and gaze at my content. That's what's good. To understand what in the world of the heaven is that God showed me is going on even with the political parties of this country. They are literally working in concert with each other, even though when they come in front of television screens, are like, I hate you so much right now, making like Khalees. When they go behind closed doors, they are just handshaking and smooching. You gonna know that that's a thing. When all of a sudden Donald Trump ought to be rocking up from the US, speaking a strange thing apparently against our country, and even parties that were against that were against the ANC ought to be bosom buddying in agreement with ANC, like the DA, like the EFF. Like I could go on. It's going on. I did a video speaking about how there is a cult out here running this country, and it is involving our leaders, politicians, and they are all in concert as to what they want to do together to South Africa, against South Africa. And so therefore, when they fight at Parliament, when they fight on TV, when they do their little political debates, South Africa, figures, I gave you Christ, you died, turned fool, gave me flames, starved, figures, I now am dying cause you're on a stage, saved by divine help, my pearls, killed a swine love that dies, begging for me just to give sin a try, figures, was willing to stay cause you're sick, need his love, but you went and packed my bags, birth home, you've been cruel, now you will not get me back. For the Lord has made you snooze from his message so special, message so real. Oh, countrymen, now it's clear you're deceived. You'll wish you had loved me back. That's what you get for bruising the prophets sent to you. Yeah, to you. Figures. I rewrote that song, that Lady Chica. I rewrote that song to share a sentiment about how it is that because me saved by divine help, my pearls gave a swine love that dies, and they're begging for me just to give sin a try. Figures was willing to stay cause you're sick, need his love, but you went and packed my bags. Birth home, you've been cruel, now you will not get me back. And that's what you get for perusing the prophets sent to you.
Yo, to you, yo, a figure.
I now am dying 'cause you're on a stage, starved of figures. You say sorry never, so I'll call your bluff. And saved by divine help, my pearls gave us fine love and eyes, begging for angels to give sin a try. Figures. Sorry, I keep on repeating the same lyrics because I'm all besotted with this song. Because even your politicians are like the people in the movie The Body Snatcher. One day you be out there hanging on to the DA thinking at least they get it. Hey? Especially white folk. Hang on to the DA and then they hit them with a whammy. Wow. How's the DA agreeing with the ANC? The DA is like the wife in Body Snatchers. The husband is out there saying, honey, let's go, honey, let's go. And the DA, who is not supposed to be in concert with the ANC, are like, where you gonna go? Where you gonna run? Where you gonna hide? Nowhere. Because there's no one out there like you left. Figures was willing to stay 'cause you're sick, need his love, but you went and packed my bags. And birth home, you've been cruel, now you will not get me back. That's what you get for bruising the prophets sent to you. Yo, I tell you, yo, figures. That's what's going on in this country. It's like the movie Body Snatchers. People you be thinking you try to vote differently. You tell yourself, oh, next election, dream on. I remember when Cope came on the scene. My girls and I all voted for Cope. Can't nobody cope because Cope ain't nowhere to be found. We were trying to find an alternative to ANC because there was a breakaway from ANC within the ANC called Cope. Even their flag looked like the ANC. If anything, it looked like the flag of Jamaica. Figures. We now are dying 'cause South Africa's on a stage. Oh, figures. They say sorry never, so we'll call their bluff. And saved by divine help, my pearls give us fine love that dies. Begging for you just to give sin a try. Figures was willing to stay 'cause you're sick, need his love, but you went and packed our bags. Oh, birth home, you've been cruel, now you will not get us back. 'Cause that's what the Lord does when you kill his prophets. He sends us out, yow, out, yow, figures. Last line, guys, you are very crazy in the heart and in the stomach. I could say lenale maswabi asengteng. But anyway, let's just move on. That's what's going on. A country that does not like jealous, that does not like Jesus. So a country that does not like Jesus, you can act like you like Jesus, but you don't, because your evidence with your works, Titus 1:16. With your works you display that you are reprobate and disqualified according to every good work, according to the faith. You are not the real deal. Your works evidence that you're not God's. So a country that calls itself Christian, that has got socialistic principles, will one day give you grief and make like the wife in the movie The Body Snatchers, where you be out to thinking you have an ally in somebody, some party, some politician, some person on the left and on the right. And then as you are trying to run away from the body snatchers and those who have been snatched, wifey out to being on some, where you gonna go, where you gonna run, where you gonna hide? Nowhere. Because there's no one out there like you left. The DA recently evidenced that they are literally working with the ANC. I've been saying it. I shared prophecy some time ago speaking about how don't be looking at Julius Malema out just scratching the eyeballs out of ANC and think that they're not friends. They are. Behind closed doors, they're achieving an exact strategy in the nation, and you see it in the way that they concert and come together against international scrutiny, against international judgment, and against international condemnation of what they're doing. It's like they have a mindset of, how can I say this? It's like, you know, when you treat your own family members like trash, but then when others treat your family members like trash, you're like, hey, only I get to do that. Hey, only I get to speak to my sister like she stank like a bad shoe. But you don't get to do that. You gonna know what time it is. Yeah, type establishment thing. Yeah, you're finding that kind of phenomenon happening politically, where it is that things that need to be called out like no man's business in the ANC be when they get called out by international bodies to a point of attempted sanctions on the country or potential sanctions on the country. You be out literally getting Julius Malema. And what is the name of that white guy? I forgot his name. Ole Oranang, the DA. Standing together in concert. Are you for real? Like, are you for real? Are you seriously for real? Like, people that are supposed to be opposing the random rubbish that the ANC is doing are standing for this nonsense, evidencing that basically the ANC is actually making policies that they get to come on a stage and say, Tinasi, Tandi, no, you are messing up, no, you mustn't do this, no, you don't love the South African people, no, you are this, you are the other. They want the people on the ground to feel as if though they're at odds with each other. But they are nonetheless trying to effect certain strategies in the country. They're trying to effect certain eventualities in the country. And so a president who is sitting has got all this power to essentially enact legislation that all that Julius Malema can do is cry and complain. DA, cry and complain. Any other party, IFP, cry and complain. Cry and complain. But it's going to be law anyway. It's like they agree that, look, we'll cry, we'll complain. We're not going to be able to do anything about it, however. But if there is international scrutiny that is actually trying to literally lambaste us for trying to affect us, for affecting this, they're getting in the way of what we're trying to do to the country in totality. They are trying to achieve some kind of a socialistic system. It's like they are in it together with the globalist regime, the globalist ideal. I could say we're in this country, but we are prostitutes in a brothel. The country that is South Africa is like a little prostitute in a brothel working for a bigger pimp, and this pimp got every politician wrapped around their finger. Did you have to let it linger? Did you have to? Did you have to? Did you have to let it linger? You know I'm such a fool for you. Yeah. It's got our cabinet here, and almost every, let me not say every, but almost every politician is a prostitute serving this pimp that is behind the scenes and highly likely not even South African. We are just some skivvy for some other global agenda that we can't look out at, and that's why South Africa is now in camaraderie together against Donald Trump and the American new administration, because Trump is anti-globalist. We all know that. He is fighting for his country's sovereignty, and there are nations in the world that are concerted against the United States of America maintaining its sovereignty, and also Donald Trump, because he is apparently allegedly standing in the way of what they're trying to do. I've been speaking about this. The Antichrist system is trying to push through, is trying to pull out, it is trying to pop out like a baby out of a womb. It is trying to get out like a big fat chunky ball of pus in a pimple from the skin. It's trying to pop out, and until such time that it can ooze out of the skin like lava at the top of a mountain, there will be efforts on the ground by those who have a vested interest in this molten lavic pus popping out of the face of this proverbial pimpled teenager. There are people who have a vested interest in seeing that lava fall like drool on the cheek. It's gross, the analogy, isn't it? Yeah. They want to usher in the global government, and in so wanting to usher in this global government, smaller countries like South Africa are prostitutes in a brothel to a bigger pimp, and this prostitute must work to the nail to proliferate the agenda of the pimp of which can't stand the sovereignty of the US right now because it's standing in the way of a globalist agenda. So Trump being a globalist, the sentiment of the country has been swayed against him because South Africa is one of the enemies of God. And I've been saying this for a minute. It's one of the enemies of Earth's sovereignty across the nations. It's one of the countries that are at odds with international, unique country sovereignty maintained so as to eradicate or stay the advancement of the one world government. Our country is a prostitute in a brothel to the globalist agenda. You see it in its policies. It's just happening in broad daylight. These people are contracted to something very nefarious and satanic, and we are these mindless drones with only a few mere 10 people awake to see this for what it is. And it's bizarre when we look at it as to why everybody's just letting the country fall apart like this. But you see, it will become bizarre when people have been duped to be docile under a crazy tyrannical monster and not see that this here is not self-preserving to maintain. You're all under drugs, you're all under spells. Therefore it makes all the sense in the world why under heaven it is that your country is becoming a witchcraft state, why there are so many inefficient. It's literally like a Hegelian dialectic, okay, where it is that disaster is caused on the ground for no other reason but to rescue the tank. That's how the globalist structures are. That's how they try to take over things. They calamitize a country, they destroy it altogether, until such time that these people are so in dire need of aid that they will now take despotic rule on their on their persons. They will take sovereign rule on their persons. They will be okay with someone telling them exactly what they must do, because goodness gracious, anything for bread, or anything for some kind of semblance of peace, anything for the eradication of war, anything for we are being primed. We are being primed to essentially take in our stride sovereign rule on our persons. And you see it in the reaction, the weird little one at that, by South Africa. It's South Africans in total who have been made a bunch of debauched souls. Do you understand? We see it on the part of South Africans in total who have been made a bunch of debauched souls right next to their leaders, who are strangely reacting to things that they ought not react in a particular way. In that way, we are seeing people who are supposed to be saying a different thing, sounding a different voice, sounding a strangely, eerily similar voice to that of the ANC. It's weird. It's like now there's nowhere to turn, nowhere to run. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Because just like in Body Snatchers, where you gonna go, where you gonna run, where you gonna hide? Nowhere. Because no one out there like you left. Everybody is a morphing body snatcher, except for 2 or 3 people. And in that movie, Body Snatchers is so dystopian. Only the girl and the boyfriend at the end are the only ones alive. The whole world has been taken over. Yeah. This country is like the movie, The Body Snatchers. There's like a few sober souls, and everybody else is zombie, mindless drone. They're just going with the rain, with the flow, and it appears obvious to those who are standing back looking on some, but why are you going to let this happen to your country, right? But those that are taken away by this tsunami are so convicted for it. They're so convicted by it. They feel so sound in it. They feel so justified and convicted within it that everybody, basically, to hell with them, that doesn't agree. Hence why an entire country can trend rubbish on Twitter. Like, how is a whole nation that duped? That's what happens when God hands you over to your reprobate mind. A socialistic country hates God, and a socialistic nation appoints sovereign rule that is going to make people do things or else. And before things get there, you will notice the disillusion, essentially, of the diametric oppositions that you find in the varying political structures or the varying ideological differences amidst certain groups. They start to mesh. They become the same thing. Yeah. Essentially what I'm getting at is that people who disagree start to agree. And eerily so, because they were so diametrically opposed at some point that nobody ever thought they would ever agree. But now look at them agree. Yeah, that's happening in South Africa. You are seeing it. It's weird. It's so weird. That is exactly what is going down in this crazy country. So with there being blurs of lines between political parties in this country, we're looking at one big fat blob of body snatched souls that are the exact same thing, that started out however unique voices. They started out individuals, and now they're the same ball of cocoon within which there is some specimen growing that's going to terrorize South Africa. And me, I don't want to be here for it. I don't want to be here for it. But I look only to know about Jesus, because he's got my back. Goodbye, South Africa. We are waving to you, hello, goodbye, anything at all, but certainly not I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye. Whether or not you are content, and that you think you've got power to control, whether or not you put my like it or not, guys, because I am not going to melt into the stone, into the sand. I'm not going to mesh with the furniture. I am not going to become one with the air. I am not going to be just what it is that you expect me to be, because it is what it is. Just deal, just take it. There is this movie actually that God uses a lot to describe what's going on in South Africa. I forgot the name of the movie. Is it the Glow or the Shining or the whatnot? But it is basically a movie of this weird little... Do I have a phone right now that's got Wi-Fi to try and find it? My iPhone, ever since I removed it from thingy, has morning shot. Thank you. Trump has got people mad. Your comments are getting wild. That's the name of the channel that I watch every so often. Another one is Colonel Chris Wyatt. He's an American man staying in South Africa. This one is a South African man fully. Morning shot, that's the name of the channel. Trump has got people mad. Your comments are getting wild. So I found it on my iPhone, but I still don't have Wi-Fi. Anyway, the name of that movie is, I forgot, man, but basically the wife, it involves people going inside some funny little weird zone, like a never ever dystopian zone, and it involves people going inside some never ever dystopian zone, alright? And in this never ever random weird dystopian zone thing, so many things happen, weird stuff goes down, like, that are against science, nature, time, space. People's internal organs move on their own, like weird stuff. And proper nobody survives except for the lead character. She gets out because she refuses to mix. She fights the system. She fights the thing inside and gets out. But one of the characters is, I forgot that chick's name again, like, you know, these things elude me, and after I stopped recording I remember names and everything. But a black lady that went in there, also another scientist, she decided to become a tree in the garden, in this like shining misty blob iridescent thing. She decided to just join with it and become a tree. Yeah, the Lord shows me that what's going on in South Africa is similar to that, that if you don't fight, if you don't stand, if you don't resist the devil, you're literally going to one day, you see how I'm encircled by a cornucopia of pillows, you're just going to end up another scatter cushion, you're just going to end up another piece of furniture, you're going to end up wood if you're sitting on a wooden chair, because you are going to fit in unless you fight. And I've gotten multiple dreams where the Lord has shown me being the lead character in that movie, in that, albeit coming close to falling apart, I get out because I fight the system, because you don't just accept nonsense lying down, you don't just receive it. So like Job, Daniel and Noah, the Lord takes me out of Sodom, that is out here become trees in gardens in the country because they refuse to maintain their humanity. They have been body snatched. So go and be a chrysanthemum in a garden, having started out at the beginning of your life a multicellular organism, so complex as a human being, able to make decisions and everything, and now you're just a plant. Go. I'm banned. Kodwa mina ngiyaphuma la ejardini angisibhayisikele emseni sonke lonke. When you don't love God as a country, you become a tree in the plant of your country. You just become part of the crazy hellbound furniture, and I am not about to be any part of that. I will not participate in a mutiny against my own future, my own soul, my own life, my own skills, my own gifts, my own talents. I will never ever drop the ball and accept things happen, and so really you win some, you lose some. You can't win them all. So kilo accept and defela all this level of loss. I'm sorry. When you've been done dirty, justice will reign in your core. When you've been done dirty, justice will amplify like a speaker in your core, like a boombox, and you will not be able to sleep at night until something stills it. Otherwise known as the satiation of justice. Otherwise known as justice served. Otherwise known as recompense. I'm never gonna chill. I am too indignant to let things go. I am too much of a fighter to let things go. So anyone that's sitting around waiting with bated breath outside of my life, hoping one day I'm going to drop the ball, change my mind, but naive. How can I? Like I said, too indignant, too much of a warrior, and too much of a multicellular organism complex with thought, reasoning, capacities that no other created being has, because I'm human. And I'm still that thing, living amidst the people that have embraced the status of being logs of trees. I am just going to walk in that forest until I come out and pierce into the sun. I am not giving up, because why would I? When even the DA is in agreement with the ANC concerning expropriation without compensation. What is going on? I'm sorry. Body snatchers. Where you gonna go? Where you gonna run? Where you gonna hide? Nowhere. Because there's no one out there like you left. It's like the Stepford Wives. Have you seen the Stepford Wives? Especially the old school one. It's eerie. The old school one from 1956 or whatever. Yeah, go and check it out on YouTube. It's there. Women are to be getting converted into robots. Robots, and in the end the lead character is taken to. It's so dystopian, like the whole nation is Stepford, and I'm just looking at it on some, I'm scared, so I'm leaving. I am leaving. I am not about to live in the Stepford country that cannot see its disease from outside in. I can't. Like, how is an entire country outraged at Trump when he is right? How? Like, I literally, it's so obvious to me. So granted that a socialistic nation has no interest in Jesus, it doesn't like God because it wants to use man as a figure of authority. The Lord laughs at you, just like I read in Psalm 2. He will extract Job, Daniel, and Noah out, just like I read in Ezekiel 14. He is just going to take us out and show you flames. He is going to smite you because you are cruel and you have no regard for your fellow man. You are trying to take a skilled professional and a consultant and make her scan groceries at the Pick and Pay. You want me to buy your digestive biscuits and book your parking, book your boardrooms. You want me to take your minutes of the meeting. You want me as your PA, your secretary, your whatever, despite being a skilled consultant. I am leaving. I'm leaving, and I'm not even going to take any prisoners when I go. Yeah, but guys, and I'm not going to look back. I am not going to look back, because at the end of the day, I deserve to live a life that God gave me abundantly, seeing as I awarded myself an opportunity at embracing the cross. I said yes. The Lord awarded me an opportunity to award myself a sobriety. He said take it, and I was like, I'll run with it. And so I am not going to stay in a crazy country and then comfort myself with the fact that, oh, it's a dystopia, I'm living among zombies, this is their country, this is their world, I'm just living in it. I'm sorry. No. Acceptance. Hi everybody, know I'm sorry. Like, acceptance is not what we're doing. I get lots of nonsense in Masaka tapule abodile mamela. Donald Trump, he appointed a brand spanking new what is the name of the position? Like an FBI head, like the executive, like the leader, whatever. Mutwa FBI, the runner, some dude that looks, well, if he was South African, he would be called Indian. Some Indian looking guy is the new head of the FBI. They essentially fired the old one and put a new one in place. And he was made to take an oath about 2 weeks ago to not do what the previous head of the FBI did. This man was interrogated in like some kind of a congressional hearing, and they brought forth some of the things that the FBI had done before during Biden's regime. I call it a regime because it was that tyrannical. And he was like, some of the people under the Biden regime belonging to your organization, the FBI, out here smothered freedoms of expression. I ran out of power bank power, so this thing has kept quiet now. The whir that you heard in the background, meaning that I should probably stop recording any minute now. My phone is going to overheat with there being no air coming, so the sooner that I can get this message done, then the better. Yeah, but some executive guy of the FBI has recently been what do you call this, replaced. Basically a change of leadership. I told you there's going to be a change of leadership in the US. There's going to be a change of leadership. They brought on board a new FBI head, and he was made to recall the statistics of the previous head of the FBI and what he did under the leftist regime in the US, smothering people, taking away freedoms of expression, all that jazz, and sitting on the chests. I'm running out of time. Like battery power, everything, nothing is charging because phones are overheating. What are the fish places? The sooner I finish this message, the better. And next time I'm just going to have to accept that I can't record on 2 devices because it's just too complicated. But let's just try and finish this. Yeah, all right, because I don't even know, like, proper, I need to try and finish this, like, whatever. Cool. They appointed a new leader, yeah, the FBI, and they made him sign an oath, and they made him essentially recount all the crazy antics of the previous FBI, and he had to make an oath, like executive guy, and he had to make an oath in front of people and everybody that he is not going to persecute anybody, and that he is going to investigate personally anything at all that he happens upon where it is that social freedom of expressions are being hindered or infringed upon using federal powers of the state. Yes, using the federal powers of the state to afflict Lay Janes and Lay Jones, like regular citizens. This man had to make an oath. And when I listened to that meeting, I was like, I think this is what's going to cause me to get my YouTube channel back. I told you that there is one big fat chunky syndicate here in Africa that is going to be unraveled by the FBI of America, and it's going to give me my channel back. I told you guys, I spoke about it at length, and already Trump has signed in some man through somebody that he hired in his conservative cabinet of the FBI that is going to start to employ changes that are going to alter censorship on social media. And you think that I'm not getting my channel back? You think that I need South Africa to repent? You think that I need South Africa to do a better thing? You think that I need this country that is ignoring God in order to get out? My way of trying to make money is an American platform. So because the US is making policies, I'm gonna get set free whether or not South Africa is careless concerning my cause, and whether or not the South African branch of YouTube is corrupt. Bottom line is, YouTube belongs to America. Facebook belongs to America. Social media platforms, and the majority of them on the earth, belong to America. So your corruption in Africa is irrelevant, because when the FBI is done with this investigation, my channel is coming free. And there have already been evidences that this is a thing. It's already been a thing. So your communistic country that is in concert with each other, with a crazy, tyrannical, despotic general demeanor. Oh, bye. If I was trying to make money through a South African avenue, then maybe I'd be totally, truly, and genuinely screwed. But my efforts to try and get out of the grain of suffering and poverty for the past literally decade, a good 9 out of 10 of them have been through American sources, largely social media. I've tried to write in an American blog on WordPress. I have tried to write in an American platform as well, Medium, but because they don't monetize in South Africa, I stopped writing over there. I have tried to sell t-shirts on Etsy. I have tried to sell little books that I could write on Amazon. Nothing has given. I have tried to monetize social media accounts like Facebook, like YouTube. I have tried to make money through largely American sources. Yes, indeed, I tried my hand at getting back into corporate South Africa. That failed. I tried my hand at any kind of South African effort, but largely my strivings to get out of poverty have been through using international platforms that are available, platforms that are available to the international community, however, originating in their innovation from America. That's how it's been for the past literally decade. And because of the corruption of South Africa, for a whole decade I have struggled to monetize on American forms of making money, which is South Africa standing on the toes of American interests to make money off global interests in exporting their products. They are the ones that are exporting YouTube. They're exporting Facebook. They're exporting Amazon. They're exporting Etsy. They are the ones that are exporting all like WordPress. They're exporting all of these services across the world, and that's why we can use them even in Africa. When then Africans sabotage them because they've got administrative access to sabotage them, the US, when they finally find this out, are going to pull out that investment of Africa. And I've been saying it. I have been saying it. This even land expropriation law without compensation has already started to pull out investment in South Africa in other regards. But one of the ways in which investment in South Africa is going to be taken out of Africa and some African countries is from their platforms being extracted from our nations because of how corrupt we are as Africa. I've already spoken about this before. Ain't no need for me to reiterate it. Bottom line is this: you can only sabotage me for so long on a platform that doesn't belong to you. You know that scripture in the Word of God of the master that leaves his house to a servant to basically steward it, and he starts to beat up the other servants because his master is tarrying and taking long. When the master comes back, he is going to hold that servant accountable and put them in the outer darkness where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. What that scripture basically is saying is that when somebody has held you responsible to steward something that rather belongs to them instead of you, when they've made you like a boss, and you have been delegated power because you've been entrusted it for a season and you abuse that power, when the person that gave you that power to rightly steward it rocks up and finds that you have been maligning it, squandering it, and misadministrating it, he is going to bind you hand and foot and throw you in the outer darkness. So Africa, those of you that have been made stewards of social media platforms that belong to America, that have done this to people on American platforms, all of the sabotage, understand, I told you an FBI investigation is underway. You are going to, just like in that scripture where God rather is speaking about indeed shepherds that are bad towards sheep and people who are out here messing up with disciples of the Lord Jesus Christ because Christ is tarrying. It also, however, implies that when you are given authority by another bigger source to steward that which belongs to that bigger source, and you misadministrate it, you are going to get judged, you are going to get punished, and you are going to be thrown out the way, and then people are going to be given relief from the thing that you are, oppressor. So what you've done to content creators, using the money that you've got, using the connections that you have all across this Africa of ours, to mess up with people on platforms that belong to another country. There is a president chilling in the White House right now that is so no nonsense, that takes so no prisoners, pertaining weird little African policies, that when he discovers through the FBI that you've been doing this through their platforms, and so therefore messing with American interests in making money, amassing wealth for the US through their innovations that are Facebook, YouTube, etc. He's literally going to pull out. America in total, I told you, the left and the right are going to come in concert in agreement with this. They're not going to be at enmity pertaining the literal targetedness of US interests, when you don't care to proliferate the agenda of America with platforms or things that America has given you to embetter your lives. They get to take them back. In the same way that Trump cut funding for South Africa. Similarly too, because of just the observation of crazy stuff that's going on down in these streets, similarly too, is there going to be a cut of they're gonna, I told you, pack their bags and go, because they're not gonna trust Africans, certain African countries anymore, to steward their social media platforms. They're not gonna trust them because they will not be acting in the best interest of America. I've been saying it. So you are naive, South Africans, to think that because you refuse to give me a job, you refuse to let me work, you refuse to fulfill my skills, my talents, my birth, whatever I can achieve in these streets, you refuse to let me do it? Just because you refuse to let me do it. If there is a place that's willing to let me, please them with all of my je ne sais quoi. If there are other people out there that are happy to see what I gotta offer, but not here in South Africa, and I am trying to show them who I am on a platform that doesn't belong to you. Once it gets learned that you did that to me and blocked me from flailing my peacock feathers, fluffing them on a platform that doesn't belong to you, you're gonna get cut off. I'm gonna get my YouTube channel, and I told you I had a dream where I once had 5.2 million subscribers. Literally, I am going to get my channel. I am going to get everything I've ever wanted. And all of these men trying to make out of me a Stepford wife, all of these South Africans trying to make me buy digestive biscuits and book parking, or maybe even wait tables at the Wimpy, scan groceries at the Pick and Pay, pack shelves at the Macro. You are going to regret every iota of attempt in that regard. When I give birth to my children, you're going to hate yourselves for having abandoned me. You will have literally kicked me out the country and made me like a North Korean defector. I will have been living in a dystopia that is a pariah, that nobody really knows what's going on the inside concerning. And when I get outside and tell my stories of what I endured under South African tyranny, people are going to be shocked that all this level of crazy is happening in the country, just like a North Korean defector. You know how when they defect and move to the US or South Korea, their stories are so shocking. My stories are going to be shocking to the world as to what in the world South Africans can do to each other, and how it is that there's just this like weird dystopian, funny little group-think trance that everyone is in, and they won't snap out of it. And then there is a crazy little black supremacist government that has strangely managed to dupe some white people into following suit with it. They're just running with it. We're not doing this. Like, keep your country. Do that.